Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Sealeze. This is their part number G645CLA60BL. So at first view, you're saying, gosh, what would I use that for? Well, you would use it for really large doors, and that's exactly what this is intended for. Believe it or not, whether it would be a aircraft hangar door or an enclosure, an elephant enclosure at a zoo, is where you're going to see really long bristle, because you may have, in this case with an angled holder, you probably have a really large overhead door, sectional overhead door, or you might have really large sliding doors like you would see in an elephant enclosure. Very typical and common, actually, although you don't obviously sell this very often. But the fact of the matter is, when you have really large, epically huge doors, you need weather stripping or seal material that goes along with it. So this angle style is literally one that you'll see very common, typically in an epically huge overhead door. The distance from the jamb to where you will mount this and your door area will be something like that. If you were to study a common application like the residential overhead garage door, you'll see the weather stripping on the jamb and at the header is indeed angled. That's how that stuff is supplied and installed. This is the same principle, just epically larger is where you would see this. Okay. Now the G645, that's going to stand for a very heavy-duty bristle version, and in fact Sealeze's heaviest version. The heaviest brush seals from Sealeze are their G series, to seal out elements around large industrial rolling steel doors, sectional doors, and other large service doors, including aircraft hangar doors. And this is available in brush inserts up to 7-inch. This is a 6-inch length. Back to the part number, the G645 means heaviest duty they supply. The CLA means clear anodized aluminum. The 60 in the part number refers to a 6-inch bristle length. They can do UL labeled up to 4-inch. And you'd want, obviously, UL labeled if you're installing material onto an opening that requires the hardware be listed. 6-inch. This holder is going to give you a, let's check the dimensions of the holder. And we can scroll down and see an image of what the holder looks like. We've got 1 inch of its returned angle here. Okay, so when it's installed, from the surface that you are installing it onto, looks like you're going to have a total projection of about 5 1/4 inch, something in that range if we were to average that out. Okay. Now, one reason that bristle is so effective at the job of these large industrial type doors is because the very inherent strong suit of bristle is that it contours itself over irregular surfaces. So you could very likely have an overhead sectional door or an overhead coiling door, like, forgive me, like the one that's here in my building. It's corrugated. So this bristle, while it's far too large for my application, I also don't have a door opening that's 60 feet wide. Does a great job at sealing inside of this corrugated surface. And that's one of the reasons bristle is so effective. You'll install this at the jambs. You can certainly install it, let's see here now, up at the header as well, if you wanted to. You'd very commonly see it installed there. Okay. This material is very effective in those types of installations. You can even install it down at the leading bar or the bottom of the door, I suppose, as well. If you had a sliding application, I would imagine you'd probably want a straight bristle and not a 45-degree angle on the holder. But whatever requirement really that you're looking to solve with bristle weather stripping, there's lots of different lengths involved, and again, up to 7-inch. You can review all of the different lengths that are available very handily in the manufacturer's page, and you can locate that, you can locate that and the link below our video here to the manufacturer's page on the site and pull up that catalog. I would do a find function by G645, and you'll get to the area where they have all these really large bristle inserts. You'll notice how they build the part number. If you were to follow along with the brush length, the 60 in the part number, that's the length. That's 6 inch. If you were looking for one that was 1 3/4, which they have, that would be 1/8 is what that part number would be. The G645 is the series. The CLA is clear anodized aluminum on the holder itself. Okay. And then the 60 is going to tell you about the length of the brush. The BL will be black for this black nylon material. Now, this is listed in the site in lots of different lengths, everything from 2 foot to 8 foot. Now, it's very likely if you need this weather stripping, you need pieces much longer than 8 foot, and we can accommodate that. We just don't list it because the cost to ship those longer lengths is generally prohibitive. And if you needed one piece at 14 feet, the freight's going to be probably more than the piece, or noticeably a noticeable part of the line item of the order itself. But if you needed 30 of these pieces, it wouldn't be so much of a big deal. And very commonly, we're going to find clients who have very large installations, and the cost of the freight is the cost of the freight. Alternatively, you can butt the two shorter lengths together. Be mindful, however, if you do have to cut the material, you're going to want to cut the bristle separately. That's steel. You won't want to run, this is aluminum. You won't want to run all that through your miter box saw. That's meant to slide apart for that purpose. Once you have a complete installation done, everything's cut to length, you're going to want to crimp this over to prevent that from sliding, at least to a certain extent. You might want to crimp it over so that you can then straighten it out and remove it, because you can purchase this material as replacements. Does bristle fatigue and ultimately, eventually, become less effective with fatigue over time? Yeah, sure, everything breaks down over time. Everything needs replacing. However, this Sealeze bristle is going to be really great at not only doing the job, but doing so in a long-term sort of scenario. There's, in the beginning of the catalog, the manufacturer sings the praises of Seal bristle type material, and I would encourage you to review it. You will probably be a convert after you read the fact that it's been independently tested to stand up to 2 million cycles, opening and closing, without degradation. Nylon filaments give the thermal brush unmatched flexibility and durability. And it goes on and on and on. Extreme temperature range capabilities. I find people that order bristle, it's because they really want to seal an irregular surface. So the people who buy this material from us, not in the aircraft hangars, how many of those do you really sell a year? I don't know, one. But restaurants. The back door of the restaurant, the inspector, these places are being inspected regularly, we hope. We know they are. Expect that they are, I should say. The inspector's looking for daylight. And the logic is, if daylight can get in, so can little critters. Bristle is really effective. And I don't think the restaurant guy knows, necessarily why he wants the bristle, but he wants the bristle. Someone's told him to ask for it, or he's asking for it. And it's because it really seals irregular surfaces, blocking out the light. Plus, insects don't really like, this sort of a scenario to try to permeate through. Okay, at least that's what I understand. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field the net length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. This is obviously just a sample piece. If it was the real article, you'd have a slotted hole at some distance from the edge, and then regular center to centers down the road as well. The manufacturer supplies their material, as a rule, with hex head self-drilling screws. That might be perfect, exactly what you want. You might be someone like me who doesn't really like self-drilling screws because you can't control exactly where the positioning is, although I believe I'm in the minority of that. The point of the matter is, if you ordered a custom length, we'll not only cut the extrusion to the right length, but this will be trimmed to the right length. That first slotted hole from the distance from the edge will be at the proper distance, and then the center to center will be equal as well. Generally, when it comes to the quantity of holes, it's one more than the length expressed in feet. So if you had a 3-foot door sweep, it would generally have 4 holes in it. It could have 3. The rule is 4. It's not a guarantee, irrevocable sort of general rule of thumb, but that is the rule of thumb. And then finally, again, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Sealeze products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to that full product catalog. If you have applications where bristle is the perfect solution, the name Sealeze is utterly synonymous, and no one offers a greater diversity of bristle than this manufacturer, and no one supplies this material in more unique applications, from what I understand, than this manufacturer. If you have any questions on the Sealeze G645CLA60BL, that 035 on the end there probably just as a reference to the length as it being a sample, or any other Sealeze product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.